This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Welcome to the Human-Animal Connection Show, where we believe we can communicate with all animals. Join us as we explore the 33 principles and healing methods of the human-animal connection. As animal lovers, we know that you share our commitment to making the world a kinder place for all creatures. Together, let's embrace the transformative healing power of the human-animal connection.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Human Animal Connection podcast. I'm your host, Jeannie Joseph, and I'm also the executive director of the nonprofit organization, the Human Animal Connection. And we do therapy dog work and therapy donkey work. And I have been so looking forward to this interview. One of my favorite topics is the subject of unicorns. And Gigi Kast has written a wonderful book called Travels with Unicorns, Their Untold Stories, which will maybe make you see unicorns in a whole new light. Of course, you probably had them in a good light, but now you're going to have them in an even more expansive light, as she tells you some of her firsthand experiences, life-changing experiences that she's had with unicorns. So welcome to this show, Gigi.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you. And thank you for asking me.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, has your relationship with unicorns been lifelong, or did it happen later in life?
Oh, geez. No, right from get-go. I can even remember being in the crib and seeing them around me.
Yeah, wow. That is just absolutely awesome. And then at what point did you sort of consciously say, okay, I get it. Unicorns are here. I want to connect. What made you want to go to the next level?
Well, that's a loaded question a little bit because for me, the energy of the unicorns was inside me as well as outside me. So there really wasn't any difference. But to ground all that, when I was between 4 and 5 years old, I'd be in my bedroom as this little girl in bed, and the whole room would just explode with, white light, and it was them. And my whole body would get big, and then they'd take me out to other dimensions, and kind of the whole experience with them in that way was a remembrance or a kind of igniting, because here I had a human body to bring that knowledge down. And so one morning when I was that young, I was beckoned to go outside, and everybody in the house was asleep. And I tiptoed down the back stairs, and there in my backyard was this big physical, the same one that would take me out, but a physical unicorn. And he had a beautiful golden horn with a silver tipped. And I was like, wow, there you are, all in body. And the real message throughout my life, and they want to bring, ground in for everybody down here, is to believe in yourself, to believe in what you know, and to remember who you are. So that was my assignment for my life, which can also be lifetimes, So it was very cool.
That is so awesome. I mean, that is such a valuable thing that we humans really need help with, So that's really beautiful. I mean, as a 4 and 5 year old, did you recognize that this was something that maybe not everybody experienced, or did you think everybody experienced this, or how did you see it?
Oh man, that was quite a challenge, because there's no differentiation between me and them and nature. And so nothing was labeled. So my experience, going into, like, even my family, they didn't recognize how I operated. So when I went to school, my sensibilities were different, and I seriously I had to kind of put myself in a different box to read, to do math. So that was a challenge. That was a real challenge, and throughout my whole life. But they were always there helping me. So I never lost that. But I went through the trauma of having to fit into a box that wasn't myself.
Yeah.
Just to be loved and to kind of, it was his early 1950s,
And just, for our audience to understand, when you say they always helped you, tell me what help was like. Was help something that you would say, help me, or was help something that they would just offer? Or how did you hear help? Did you feel help? How did help come to you?
Mostly everything was energetic for me.
Mm-hmm.
So help came in a knowing. Because unicorns are about knowing. They're not about the mind, they're about the heart. And so when I would go through life, their support would be there. But as I said before, sometimes it would be, I would see a unicorn or like, because I would walk to school with a unicorn in my pocket, literally, or they would walk with me to school. But it's what's difficult for me to explain is that I didn't go, oh, the unicorns are walking with me. It was just like I was in this energy field,
Mm-hmm.
So I was in this energy field of their support. And when things got rough, they were always there, but at the same time pulling me back. That's where the challenge was for me to stay in my heart and not in the mind, where everybody wanted you to be in the mind and perceive it all like this. And I was going, what are you talking about? So It is confusing for me like that.
Yeah. Confusing to have your world be so vivid and other people's world be so different, just kind of confined. Yeah. It was hard to translate, to have two realities, to be able to see, okay, your world and then the world that everybody else seemed to agree upon.
Yeah. And I think, I'm not the only one. This is put into perspective of unicorns, but, everybody has their own challenge in that way. Mm-hmm. And so I think another real message that the unicorns have is that there are endless possibilities, so that imagination, beauty, creativity, learning a certain way has many possibilities, and so that different people learn differently, and to be open to all the different possibilities of creativity, which they hold, and their whole purpose is to hold everything in love, like a whole big web of life in love, and to allow that amazing imagination and stuff to come down in a unique ways for each person or each possibility. And yeah.
So everybody's going to experience unicorns uniquely
because they're supporting the essence of who you are. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to. The whole point is to try to embody who you are in the four aspects, the balance of your essence being the body, the mind, the emotions, and the spirit.
I know I'm probably jumping ahead, but you've talked about there was a time that unicorns were really here, right? Here with us in the way that our dogs or our cats or other beings are here with us, and that there was a time that they had to leave. Tell us about that. How did they disappear? Why did they disappear?
All righty. So the unicorns, first, they're divine beings, and they are co-creators of this evolution in the earth. And with all that imagination and beauty and a certain frequency of being to communicate directly to the heart and to who you are. So as time progressed, humanity went way too much into the mind, power and that power or connection to the heart was lost, and lost all that imagination, and really imagination, like, and so that was discarded. So the mind energy became too dense in this 3D reality, and they couldn't handle that at that frequency. But also when the mind was more dominant than the heart, their contract was over to have to be accessible like that. But it didn't mean they didn't completely leave, but they didn't have to be accessible in that way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So just on a daily level, Tell me about how you engage with them.
Well, it really comes down to believing in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because since so much of my inside self is them, that they're right there. So I don't go, unless I'm very intentional, like when I was writing, and I would say, guys, just really be here, and then we'll go out multidimensionally, But otherwise, they're just there. And they're just there. And I'm going to play this. Oh, God. So in my daily life is just to remind myself to open my heart and stay in my heart and not freak out and go into my mind and cancel all that. And that's the connection.
Okay.
You see, that itself is the connection. Like the other day, they're just right there. Boom. And then I feel them, see them, and they're right there. Or another being from the book, the Lady of the Lake, the other day, boom, she was just right there. I didn't call her. It's just, and then we have a conversation, and when we're done, boom, boom, she goes, or wherever she is. So I'm sorry if I'm not being really clear. I hope I'm being clear. It's just, I've seen them on the mesa that I live, and that's just a real confirmation for myself that they're here.
Yes.
That can be a daily thing. It doesn't happen all the time, but they'll say, "Hey, see ya. Here you can see me too." Physical, and then boom, then it's only for a moment or so.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. And would you say that anybody who has a desire, a pure intention to connect with unicorns could do so, or does it require some special abilities or training?
No, I don't go into the training mind. No, yeah. I think if you have an intention of your heart opening and being supported to be who you are, and you want to call to them for their particular help, they will be there.
Mm-hmm.
They will be there. I don't think you have training A, B, C, D. It's an open about, if you get out of the head, you get out of the head and you get out of thinking it has to be some way, and you just go from the heart, and you might not even know they're there. It's a sense felt. It's a knowing. They can come in your dreams.
Yes.
And as you know how it happens, your dreams, or maybe you'll have confirmations through a magazine will show you, or I don't know many magazines these days. Everything's on the internet, but pictures that will confirm that's so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. And do you feel that their unicorns are in disguise here, or what's your thoughts about how they present?
Okay, so after they literally disappeared, right? They still wanted to help people in different ways. So they would come, and they still do, they come in either animal forms, or maybe a tree or a person, or like that. And I've had numerous experiences like that, especially my black hats. I had black hats through my whole childhood. Now, so a couple of ones that really stand out. One, my cat was Irie, and I don't know if you want to. I probably too much to go through the whole story, but quickly, he was this little guy. He was like 5 months old, and he disappeared. Right, he completely disappeared, like animals do. But I knew he was on the other side, and he'd tell me he was coming back. I didn't know when. But anyway, so about a week later, he comes up, and there was a huge storm, rain and wind, and he comes back, and he was all wet. And long story short, I said, "Well, why did you do this? Why didn't you just go and then say you're coming back and you weren't here and you were on the side?" And he said, "Oh, just to show you it could be done." That you could dematerialize, go out over there, and then come back and rematerialize. That's very unicornian.
Very unicorny thing to do.
And another guy, another black cat of mine did it in a different way, which is also unicornian, is he just manifested and birthed himself, boom, right on the top of my car.
Wow.
And so he just manifested himself, body and all. And so that's another real big unicorn thing.
Wow.
So they hide, they'll hide and they'll come to you as a, maybe not the animal will be all unicorn, but they'll have aspects of the unicorn. They might have an emotional aspect or a mental aspect or whatever. So, I think my second black cat that I just told you about was a little more unicornian than the first one, but you see?
Yeah, I know Penelope Smith, animal communicator and teacher, doing it for 50 years. She came and met my therapy donkeys, Rosie and Lily, and had a conversation with them. And I asked Penelope to ask them to tell us about their relationship with unicorns. And my two little miniature donkeys said, "We are the unicorns."
Far out. See, there you go. That's wonderful.
They had there was just, what are you looking for? We're right here.
That's right. Oh, great. I bet you were happy.
That was so much fun. Yeah. Well, we're going to take a short little break. When we come back, I would love it if you would tell me, pick an adventure that you had with unicorns that you'd like to share with our audience, and we'll tell our audience what that experience was all about. Okay. We'll be right back in just a moment.
Take a bite out of your competition. Advertise your business with an ad in Pet Life Radio podcasts and radio shows. There is no other pet-related media that is as large and reaches more pet parents and pet lovers than Pet Life Radio. With over 7 million monthly listeners, Pet Life Radio podcasts are available on all major podcast platforms, and our live radio stream goes out to over 250 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, Odyssey, TuneIn, and other streaming apps. For more information on how you can advertise on the #1 pet podcast and radio network, visit PetLifeRadio.com/advertise today.
Hey friends, if you like what you're hearing and want to learn more, check out Dr. Joseph's book, The Human-Animal Connection, Deepening Relationships with Animals and Ourselves. Or visit the website, thehumananimalconnection.org, to book an online consultation. Thank you for loving animals. Now back to the show.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Human-Animal Connection. I'm Jeannie Joseph, your host, talking with Gigi Kast, who's the author of Travels with the Unicorns, Their Untold Stories. And we're going to hear about one amazing story that's kind of a multidimensional story. It's not your everyday story, but it is just amazing and glorious. So, Gigi, tell us about this one event. We were just talking in the break when I was hearing some of the story, and we're going to tell that whole story about this, when the little unicorn took you on an adventure.
Absolutely. So most all my experiences, with this book are multidimensional. And the little unicorn took me into another space, which was in a forest, and beautiful, vibrant, and a golden space of love, basically. And we went in there, and a tawny unicorn, beautiful unicorn, greeted us and brought us into this space. And there were many different entities from other places, different universes, ETs, dragons, unicorns, elementals. And the unicorn had asked me to shapeshift into my unicorn shape, which I did. And then when we were in there for a little longer, asked me to go into my energy form. So that was quite an experience. All of us were bringing in a certain vibration to receive these new sounds and new colors that were coming down into the earth to help Earth and humanity and such raise their vibrations in love. So we were all there to receive that. So that's what happened. And it was just, it was just a bit mind-blowing,
I bet.
Just because it was these new sounds, and that's a lot what they're doing now, is bringing in these new frequencies for the earth, because the heart of the earth is the heart of the universe. So we were doing work to ground these new frequencies
Wow.
here.
That's exciting.
Mhm.
So what can you tell our audience about the unicorn realm? What's it like?
Okay. Well, it looks very much like Earth, but there's nothing negative there. Anything that is there is in their pure essence, their pure heart, their pure essence, and the essence being the part of you that connects to all things, connects to the web of life. And it's the part of you where your four aspects, as I mentioned before, are in complete balance. It's just a divine energy. It's a divine energy that actually truly earth and people and animals and everything there can be. And the unicorn realm is holding that space of love for everything to be able to evolve to that. Coming here is where we have to get rid of all of our stories and traumas and stuff like that. But essentially, it's coming back to the heart, and that's what they're supporting. And so the unicorn realm is just very, very magical. I mean, it's very magical. And that thought follows energy, follows thought, and any possibility really can happen. And so, and it's just I don't know, very spiritual, but very lots of fun. I'm fun in the way of they have good sense of humor.
Yeah.
And,
So what's it like to have this awareness of these two realms? You know, you have this access to this divine realm that's heart-based and unified consciousness and beautiful and creative. And then there's the world, you know, the news, the this, the that, the bills, the daily life. I wouldn't say how do you, but how is it to balance the fact that you're in this world, you have a body, you know, there are things that go on, and, you know, what's that like? How do you manage that?
well, I try not to separate them because everything's one, right?
Okay.
But that's not a mind thing. That's a practice of believing, knowing, feeling that, so that it's not as like I said before, it's not an out there and a here
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
So it's the more that you are conscious, because consciousness is the key to be able to move into these other dimensions connected to Earth and everywhere. It's a consciousness to nurture.
Mm-hmm.
It's a consciousness, to nurture. And so when the news comes up, as nasty it can be like now, to remember to hold the space of love. Hold the space of love for situations, to find harmony, because this earth is about finding harmony. A lot of entities from other places come here to learn what love and harmony is. And so to hold that space of love without going down the hole of despair.
Right. Fascinating. Beautiful. Okay. So when you meet people, do you tell them about your unicorn life?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't. Okay.
No, I don't. I'm very unicorny in that way. I've never been very good at putting myself out there.
Uh-huh.
And no, I really don't. You know, people, and a lot of people think I'm nuts anyway, you know. So,
Right. Uh-huh.
you know, so as far as like this book, you know, there will be people who can't go there. That's fine. That's fine. There are people that will be so inspired. I can talk with people like that. I can talk with people who don't believe in unicorns, because it's really not about the unicorns. It's about the believing in yourself and finding your essence. So, and planting seeds of that. So the unicorns just really hold that space. But no, I don't go out there and doing that. I mean, things like this I'm doing with you is really important to get their word out. So this is, thank you very much. It's a really good avenue for people just to look at the possibility.
Right. You know, just to consider the possibility. what if,
Yeah.
what if you could access this realm? Not even what if it exists, but what if you could access it? You know what I mean? So I think for people who haven't had an experience with a unicorn, I would imagine they have doubts that they could do it. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about a person who really wants to experience what you're talking about. And you have your book, of course. Mm-hmm. But what is the baby steps that people can do that could allow them an experience like this, like the ones you're sharing?
It really comes back to the heart. So, this sounds very metaphorical, but the realm is within you. So where you have to start is by creating a vibration and frequency of a higher love, choosing a more divine love. Mm-hmm. And that will, because going into these other realms, it's the key is consciousness. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's again, it's not an ABC thing. It's just focusing on, moving out of your mind where it dominates. I mean, the mind is very helpful, very, very helpful, mm-hmm. but you don't want it to cut you off from your breathing heart, Right. So my advice would be, let's say, take, I don't know, whatever's comfortable amount of time a day, mm-hmm. which would be great for everything, everywhere, to expand your sensations and your feelings and your gratitude and your appreciation, and that sort of start there. Mm-hmm. And then as that grows, you may find in your life that your consciousness opens, and that kind of realm is open to you. But as I said, that particular realm is only really for pure essence, Mm-hmm. So, but that's the key to going to these different dimensions is moving through the heart. And it's how can you tell somebody to do that? Uh-huh. It's this really kind of a hard thing to do, except go through, as a human, you got to go through all those hard knocks, pieces of life, and get them out of the way, so you're not in a box. Right. That's where the infinite possibilities coming through. Mm-hmm. Where you just don't say, okay, this is the way it is, and then you allow looking at it this way or this way, and then breaking out of the box that you're told in school or mm-hmm. your family or wherever, so that you can find yourself. And once you can find yourself, which is an endless thing, really, that creates a gateway. Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And would you say that there are some unicorns that maybe have the mission or purpose to work with beginners? I know in your book you mentioned, of course, very, very evolved beings that are doing very sophisticated planetary work. But would you say that there is unicorns who have the purpose of saying, okay, human, first experience, here we go? well, I think there are unicorns that come and help children specifically. Mm-hmm. They might have jobs to help children, or disabled people, or the elderly, or like that. It's really great, the enthusiasm of wanting to be conscious with the unicorn, and that's also where you can start. But just by calling them in like that, and having ones that are specific to certain jobs, because there are ones that are specific with certain jobs, mm-hmm. Like injured people or. Fascinating. Well, this has been totally delightful. Thank you for giving us a little taste of your travels with unicorns. And of course, people would go ahead and read your book, Travels with the Unicorns. They're Untold Stories by Gigi Kast, Kast. And is there a way that people can get a hold of you if they want to learn some more from you? Well, on my website. What's your website? GigiKast.com. And you can get the book through there. You can see what I'm all about. Yeah, I would go there. If you want to get the book, you can get it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble and like that.
Right. Well, just in the moment we have left, what is one message that your unicorns would like to leave our audience with?
I'm hearing them say, love yourself.
Love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
they're saying that. They're really saying that.
The best advice you can get.
Yeah, love yourself.
Yeah, love yourself as a path of healing.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest on our show. I know we waited a very long time for this to happen, and here it is.
Well, you're sweet to ask me, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And they do too. They're really thrilled, and they thank you too.
Yes, and thank you for reading my book on unicorns, which is not yet published, but book aimed for 13-year-old girls, and thank you for being one of my early readers.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay.
We'll say aloha for now, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Okay, you take care.
Bye-bye.
Adios.
Thank you for tuning into the Human Animal Connection Show. Please visit our website, thehumananimalconnection.org. There you can sign up for our free email newsletter, book a consultation, or check out our blogs and resources. Our best-selling book, The Human Animal Connection, is available on Amazon, and your donation of any amount keeps our nonprofit organization providing life-changing services.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.